are you, YouTubers? It's JT.
And Ariella.
Welcome to the Work It Daily Show,
Whoop, whoop.
where careers go to grow. I know you're all thinking it. Let's give a shout out. We've got Tim here. I think I saw Philip, Cece, Ty, Amy, Dimitri,
Rob.
Rob. Is it Emo or Emo? I hope I'm saying that right.
Yeah.
Emo. We hope we're saying it right. Anyways, welcome. Thanks, guys, for stopping by, and gals. We had a lot to cover today, especially a big announcement. And all I'm going to say is get your phone ready. Get your phone ready, people, because something amazing is about to be revealed to you.
Yes.
But not yet. First, we have really important information that you need to share in your office so that you look cool, smart, professional. That's what we're here to do.
Insightful.
Yeah, insightful, in the know.
Yes.
Right?
All
Okay.
the good words.
So let's do that. Let's talk about it.
All
What are we
right.
doing today for them?
All right, today we are going over some must-reads. So these are articles on our website that we need you guys to know about and share because they're awesome. And also we have a topic that we wanted to kind of cover so you can chat with your coworkers at the water cooler.
I saw that one. It was a good one.
Yes, it was. And then some open Q&A at the end, and of course our big announcement.
Of course. Awesome. So let's get this party started.
Okay, must read. Let's go.
So there were two articles. I'll take the first one. I thought this was really great. The 3 signs your interview isn't going in the right direction. So if you've ever been on an interview and you get that sinking feeling, right? Where it's like, ooh, it's not
Something's
good.
going wrong, yeah.
And so we break down some signs in this article around how to tell if that's happening. Really, the overarching theme is around when you're delivering your answers, you have to really pay attention and see if they're landing correctly. Are you getting the facial expressions and the body language from the hiring manager that's saying that they're taking it in and they like what they hear? Pick up on that stuff. I mean, if you're getting a funny read, there's probably something going on. And also, there's always the red flag that if the end they're not talking about next steps with you or even asking about salary requirements, those are what we call buy signals. So if you're not getting the buy signals, that's generally a good sign it's not going in the direction you need it to. So definitely check out that article, especially if you're actively job seeking right now.
Definitely. Absolutely. All right. Our next article is 3 tips on how to answer why are you leaving your job. This is a really good article. It's one of our most popular articles, actually.
It is very popular.
That's a hard question to answer when you're going into a new job, you want to make a good impression, and maybe you left your old job on the, not great, not best foot or whatever. Right. So how do you do that? How do you answer that? So you have to be honest, give them a brief, concise answer, but don't try to skirt around the issue or try to lie to them. Obviously, you don't want to unload your baggage either. That's not a great look.
Not a good idea.
And there's something that we use, a model that we use for these tricky questions called the Experience, Learn, Grow method. And I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with that, but it's so important to use this method because if you don't explain this in the right way, it's going to hurt you in the process, and that's going to lead to the bad interview feeling.
Earlier.
Yeah, the bad body language, not next steps.
Right.
Yeah.
See first article if that's
Yes,
happening. Right.
Definitely.
It's funny you say that. I'm going to throw my HR hat and recruiting hat on for a second and tell you that we really learned in HR that if somebody doesn't give a succinct experience, learn, and grow answer, it's one of two things. Either the answer's too short and doesn't give us enough information, we think you're hiding something, or the answer's too long and wordy, and again, that comes across like you're hiding something. I mean, what we know is you're leaving a job either because you were fired, you quit, or something else. You want something different. So getting clear in your answer and finding a positive way to do that is key. And this article does a nice job of laying that out.
Definitely check it out. But the key is to ease their concerns, any potential concerns, and don't badmouth your old employer. Use it as a learning experience to how you're going to be a better employee in the end.
Absolutely. Any emotion you bring to the interview, they're going to assume you're going to bring that emotion to the job. So you've got to stay objective.
Yeah, what is it? 10 in the interview, it's like 10 times.
Right. Whatever they see. So, whatever Ariella is doing in the interview, multiply that by 10 times, and that's her real personality. That's what they're taught to understand. So, if you're really going on and you're being negative about the employer, multiply that 10 times, you're a negative person.
Yeah.
Right?
Unfortunate. You don't want to have that impression in an interview at all.
Totally. So great article.
Yes.
Check it out. It's always about staying in the know, reading up on this stuff, folks. Even if you're not in job search, you need to know this stuff.
Definitely.
Cool.
All right.
Oh, I love
water
this.
Cooler. Okay. Let's
So we
go.
asked a question, right? And asked people on YouTube, the changing landscape of workplace benefits. There's a lot going on around this. So there was this phase where they were doing all these crazy benefits, the whole tech startup culture, Silicon Valley, over the top. I've heard some crazy ones like Facebook allows you to freeze your eggs. I'm not kidding. Like that's a crazy perk,
yeah,
right?
They have like beer and coffee stations,
mega
and
maternity and paternity leave, like lots of stuff. But we wanted to talk about the benefits that would get you most excited. Yeah. So let's see what we came up with. It was interesting. Right. There was sort of an overwhelming response here.
And if you have any that you can think of at the top of your heads, share them in the chat. We want to hear from you guys.
Yeah.
All right. So some of them, work from home options. That's a big benefit. Bring pets into the office. Work from home again is a big theme.
These were the top two. It's so funny. And we were having a conversation about that. We all have pets here, and we'd love to bring them in. The office doesn't allow it. The building doesn't allow it. But even then, I've talked to organizations where they've allowed pets, and it becomes a problem because everybody says their dog is well behaved, but then you get two dogs with different personalities, and now you get to bring your dog on Tuesday. They get to bring it on Thursday. So there's all that complexity. Sometimes you have to be careful what you wish for. But the work from home thing, I just feel like is a massive trend. Everybody wishes they could just work from home a day or two a week. I really like one of our commenters said it doesn't have to be every day, but just a day or two to have that flexibility. And I think that a lot of people want that, but we're still not seeing a lot of companies do it, mainly because they're worried about people's time management skills.
Right, exactly. Because you're not really sure, what are people doing at home? Are they watching Friends or are they doing their work, right?
Right.
But it's definitely, we're kind of changing that behavior in the workplace. A lot of people are looking for more remote work, work from home, flexible schedules, just kind of how, things are changing. So.
Yeah. So looking for jobs and companies that offer that, I think is good. And the ones that have it are certainly marketing it because they know it's a great perk to have. But it's still not commonplace yet, mainly for the reasons we were talking about. And I've had some people admit that they're not good at working from home. They're doing their laundry, like you said, or watching Friends. So it really takes the right kind of person, I think.
Definitely. All right. Let's see what you guys had to say. What do you think?
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, Rob says about pets, I see lots of dog allowed, but what about cats? It's so funny you say that. I think cats don't want to come to the office. Don't they want to stay home?
Yeah, I don't know.
I've never had a cat, so I can't speak. The cat folk, you need to get in here and give us your 2 cents. Would you bring your cat to work?
We need
that
your
could
opinion.
Get a little crazy. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's so funny. And when someone gets bitten by the pet, you have a problem. Erica, great point. That can happen. Or even if you have newer employees who are afraid of animals, that's, you basically have to, once you've made that decision, you have to only hire people who...
Or alert allergies and stuff.
Yeah.
A company that I know, they had to stop doing their dog policy because people were allergic to the pets.
Yeah.
So, it causes interesting things happening.
So, which is, again, goes back to the work from home. That way you can hang out with your dog or cat.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, thanks for weighing in, team. We'd love to see more comments on that as well. If there's a perk you wish besides these, we'd love to hear what they are.
Comment below.
Yeah.
All right. So, open Q&A time.
We're going to go to open Q&A time. Here's how it works. Put the word question in all caps first. That way we know it's a question and not just a comment. And then write your question, but not in all caps. While we're waiting for that first question, I'm going to tell the exciting news. So, did you ever wonder what you should say when you're in an interview and they ask you, why did you leave your last job? Well, guess what? There's an app for that. If you ever wondered how you should negotiate your salary, there's an app for that. If you ever wondered what you should say to an employer when they ask you why you were fired from your last job, there's an app for that. You get my point? It's called the Work It Daily app. And guess what? We officially went live today with our very own app. You guys can't even see this, but right now, the very first app on my phone is the Work It Daily app. We have it for Android and iOS, so Apple or I don't know, what do you call it, PC, whatever. I have a Google Pixel, so Android for me. You can go right to the App Store, search on Work It Daily. You will find the app. If you're an existing member of our platform, all you have to do is put in your login credentials, and we are now going to be in your back pocket. That is right. You are going to have a career coach in your back pocket at all times. If you're not a member, you should be checking us out. You should be going over to our website, which will pop in for you, because right now we've kept them open for just a little bit longer. We have crazy low rates in announcement of our new platform and now our new app. And we had a few people say they didn't know about the discount, so we've kept it open for a couple days longer, but it is going away after this week. Right now, you can get on our platform for $14.99 a month or $99.99 a year. And if for the executive, which is a bit of an upgrade, it comes with more one-on-one coaching from me personally, as well as some private office hours. That's $54.99 a month or $399.99 a year. So all you have to do is go over to our website, which will pop in the chat, sign up. Again, these rates are going to go up, right? Not down. They're going up. starting next week. So you'll want to get on there. And once you do, all you do is go over and download the app. No joke. And we're there. You get notifications. You work with your coaches, meet and network with other like-minded professionals, watch all your video tutorials right here in your phone.
I know, everything in one place in your pocket. And if you got any of those interview nerves, this is what you can do when you're waiting in your car and you're not sure what to do. You can say, hey guys, I have an interview in 15 minutes.
Give me words of encouragement. Yeah. What should I do? We're already seeing people inside the app do that. I've had some people post, hey, I had a rough day today. I need a pep talk. Or hey, this happened today. It's a place for you to celebrate, be with like-minded professionals. You are, in your career by yourself, or you're in your career for yourself, but not by yourself. Let me say that correctly. Mm-hmm. By that, I mean, it's on you to develop your career, but you don't have to go it alone. And that's why we developed Work It Daily. And now why we have an app. So anywhere you're running into career nerves, we're there.
Yeah. How awesome is that?
Super cool.
We're already obsessed.
I know. We're super obsessed. The whole place is downloaded. We've all got the app on our phone. We're all checking it all the time. It's awesome. So very proud moment for us. So check out the app. All right. Let's answer some questions. What do we got here?
All right.
So first question's from Ty. What is your perspective on the use of CVs or personal profiles for networking versus the use of resumes for networking? Is the term CV widely recognized?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so, resumes are sort of a US-based version of your summary, whereas CVs tend to be more European-based or, globally, and they're longer and they're more detailed, and they tend to offer more personal information. So we see CVs with pictures on them. Literally, I've seen some where they tell us how many kids they have, whether or not they're married. That stuff would never fly in the US. You could never submit a CV like that. Just for the anti-discrimination rules. So if you're in the US, you should be sticking to a resume. Globally, though, a lot of people are using CVs. I think, Ty, your question around networking, I have to be honest, unless somebody asks you for your resume or your CV, you shouldn't give it to them. Anytime somebody pushes that on me, like, hey, JT, nice to meet you. I wanted to introduce myself. Here's my resume. It feels really salesy. It's too soon in the process. Someone should always request your resume, or there should be some situation where it's been asked for, it makes sense to give it. But to just voluntarily send it along, it's too much. It's overkill.
Now, a way around that is to say, hey, we met at a networking event last night, and connect with them on LinkedIn. Because your resume is on LinkedIn, you're connecting with them, but it's not feeling it's not feeling pushy.
Right.
Right? It's very natural. You have your resume, you're connecting, you're keeping that conversation going. So
yeah, more than pushy, it feels desperate too. Anytime you're pushing that much content on somebody that they didn't ask for. But I love your suggestion because LinkedIn obviously is the place. We've been talking a lot about this lately. LinkedIn really it's not a social network. It's a social marketplace. You're a business of one, and everybody else on there, which is now, 645 million people and counting, have their own business of one webpage. That's what it is. So when you meet someone, the right thing to do is to connect your web pages. And that way, from a marketplace standpoint, you've expanded that way. But it's not a networking tool where you're, hey, I'm glad we connected. Let me send you my resume. Let's do that. That stuff has to happen more organically offline these days.
Right, definitely.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, let's move on. Great question, Ty, by the way. Question from Vicky. Vicky says, what is a good explanation if you resign from your job without a new job to go to? I thought I loved my job, but the culture changed.
Yes. So, it must have been pretty drastic then.
Yeah. I mean, it's always hard. I'll be honest, from an HR standpoint, anytime somebody's left a job without another job lined up, we're thinking worst case scenario. So we're thinking you were either let go and you're not telling us, or something bad went down with the culture and it got so bad that you had to leave, in which case there then becomes the question of, what was going on that you couldn't stomach or handle staying there long enough till you found a new job. I know that sounds harsh. I know that sounds awful, but unfortunately, cynically, that's how HR and recruiting thinks. So you can't skirt around it. And I love that you're asking this question, Vicky, because lots and lots of people who are watching this have probably at some point in time in their career just felt they had to leave a job without another job lined up. This goes back to what Ariella was talking about the experience, learn, and grow model. You want to be as objective and factual as possible. So here's what happened. For the first 18 months, it was a great role. I accomplished this, this, and this. Then we had a leadership change, which led to a culture change, and the environment was really different. And, I personally was struggling to be able to contribute in the way that I wanted to contribute, and I also couldn't see my career there, and I made the decision to leave. So that's the experience part. learn. You always want to own something in that scenario. You always want to take accountability for something. Even if you think nothing was your fault, you still take accountability. And in this case, I would say, looking back, if I could do it all over again, I would have tried to stay till I found a new job. But in that case, I left. There's nothing I could do now. I wouldn't do that again. But it's freeing me up to be able to look full time and get really intentional about the kinds of employers that I'm looking to work for, like you. And then you're going to talk about the grow. And the grow is simply that what I've learned now is that things can change. I always need to stay on top of the corporate culture and the work environment. And when I see the signs that it's not working for me, I stayed there for a while when I shouldn't have and it got too bad. When I see the signs, I should be more proactive and either try to fix the situation right away or know that it might be time for me to move on and look for a new opportunity before it gets too far, right? So you want to work through that process with them so that they understand you've learned and grown and it won't happen again.
Right. You're easing their concerns, right? You already understand, like, this is coming across to the employer in, this light. How can I address those concerns and tell them that I've learned from this experience, I'm going to be a better employee, and this is not going to happen again. Because if you don't ease their concerns right off the bat, then they're going to assume the worst.
Yeah.
And, you don't want to have that impression.
And I know this sounds really harsh because people are like, but JT, it wasn't fair. It was a tough situation. I get it. But think about it from the buyer perspective. I'm a prospective employer and Ariella tells me that. And what's going through my head is, wow, Ariella, you were being paid to do a job and you up and left them. So do I want to hire a vendor, a service provider who might, when the going gets tough, leave me too? That's what the concern is. So we're trying to alleviate that concern, as Ariella has said repeatedly, and rightfully so. That's the thing you need to stress here in that. So
the other thing is, you said your supervisor left and the new person's leadership wasn't a fit for you. So that's one thing that you're going to want to figure out how to articulate. How are you going to change that in the future? Because they're going to think, well, maybe you can't communicate with certain people or maybe you can't work with certain personalities. How are you going to change that moving forward so it doesn't happen again? So it's important to understand where things might have fallen through so that way you can go and address them in the interview.
Absolutely, absolutely. I hope that helped, Vicki. And thank you for bringing that up because, again, lots of people run into that. All right, I think I'm going to lean in here because I think we got a couple questions up here a little higher that I want to make sure that we're grabbing. Hold on, let me get down there. Philip says, had an interview, review my resume and compare it against my LinkedIn profile and notice several discrepancies. My profile is definitely longer, but what do you think? Ooh, so if I hear you right, Philip, your bullet points on your resume said one thing and they got over to the work history in the LinkedIn profile and it said something different. If that's the case, this is like one of the major things we harp on inside the Work It Daily program.
Right, yeah. So technically your LinkedIn profile is going to be essentially your master resume, right? Because you can't customize it for every opportunity, and that's just the way it is. The thing you have to do, though, is figure out kind of a lane that you want to kind of move forward in and brand yourself in that way. So what are the top 6 to 10 key hard skill sets that you can apply to this type of, the type of role that you want to target? What's the service that you want to provide? And brand yourself in that way on LinkedIn. Yeah, you're going to have to tweak your resume for every opportunity, whether it's, focusing on this skill set over this skill set or emphasizing this headline over this one. But your LinkedIn profile should be pretty in line with that for the most part. You don't want to have, a completely different service that you're promoting on LinkedIn than you do on your resume.
Absolutely. And when you're inside the Work It Daily Career Growth Club, our career experts look at your profile. And one of the things that we're going to tell you is that when you're changing the resume up for job to job, you only tweak the top fold. So we actually have a resume template that we've designed that makes sure that the first part of the resume is the only part you ever have to change as you're applying to different jobs. The rest of it all stays the same. And the other thing I'll tell you is that we always emphasize the work history. The bullet points in the resume have to be identical to the bullet points in the work history of the LinkedIn profile. Those always stay the same. Again, LinkedIn in the top, the headline can be different, the summary can be different, but the work histories on a resume and a LinkedIn profile, the job title should be identical, the bullet point should be identical. And I'll tell you the reason why. Recruiters really hate it when they get a resume and they go, this candidate looks good. They pull your LinkedIn profile link and they send it to the hiring manager, and the hiring manager is, what are you talking about? And then they don't connect. It comes across like you're like cheating, lying, trying to hide something, gaming the system. So always make sure that the work histories are identical.
Yes, definitely. It should be pretty much the same.
Yep, absolutely. Awesome. Okay, so next question's from Dimitri. Dimitri says, what is your opinion on online software like JobScan, which is supposed to be designed to beat the robots of automatic tracking systems?
Oh, JT. Favorite topic.
Oh, Dimitri, did you plant the seed? This is hard. So first of all, I want to preface by saying I know the founders of JobScan. I've talked to them in the past. Such nice people. I think it's super well intended. You know, I love that they're trying to help folks out there. But candidly, I am not convinced that this is actually going to be the game changer. And I can't recommend that kind of investment. And the reason for that is that every ATS system is different. And the way the ATS pull people varies. And so getting through the ATS is fine, but even gaming a resume for ATS and getting through, then a human eye is going to look at it. And if it doesn't match, you're still not going to get selected, which is why we're always teaching you how to go around the ATS. Yes, you may have to apply online because that's what they're asking of you, but you also have to learn to go around this process, connect with the right people in order to get someone to walk down the hallway and pull your application from the pile. That is the most important part. And when you have somebody do that, you've been given the opportunity to kind of make an impression. So when they look at your resume, they're screening you in more than they're screening you out.
Right.
When nobody knows you, when there's no referral involved, they're trying to screen you out. They're getting hundreds, sometimes thousands of resumes. But when you've been referred by somebody, now they're almost looking at your resume with rose-colored glasses. They're trying to screen you in because somebody recommended you. This is why learning, and that's what we teach you in Work It Daily, learning how to do that is a far better skill set and a better use of your time and money than just trying to game a system with a resume that's ATS optimized, and it still won't guarantee you anything.
Absolutely. Yeah. If you think about it, recruiters are overwhelmed with the amount of applications, so they're looking for reasons to say no to your application. That's the unfortunate reality, right? Because they just want to figure out who are the top candidates on paper and then bring them in. But if you have that personal connection, somebody has worked with you, or they know how you work, or they know your personality, you can fit on the team, that says so much about you. And you also get put on top of the pile most of the time, right? So that's really, really key.
And I think a lot of people say, but wait, JT, I don't have any connections at that company, so my only shot is using the ATS and gaming the system. Again, for the amount of money you're going to spend, the statistical chances that you're going to get passed through every one, it's not that good. You can try, but even then, the resume has to look a certain way in order for the human eye to want to read it. So my advice there is, if you're going to go ahead and invest in JobScan and some kind of software like that, understand what they're doing to optimize it, but please make sure that it actually follows a human eye format, because all that ATS optimizing could actually work against you once a human being sees it.
Definitely.
Awesome. Great question.
Yes.
Hard question. I always hate getting that question, to be honest with you. Lisa says, is it okay to add your actual resume to your LinkedIn profile?
Just uploading it, you mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Although, you don't have to, Lisa. I don't know that a lot of people realize this, but thanks to Microsoft buying LinkedIn, you now can turn your LinkedIn profile into a resume. Did y'all know that? You can actually go over there and use the feature. If you go look at your pull-down menu on your page, you can PDF and turn your LinkedIn profile into a resume. And here's the kicker. If you follow our LinkedIn tutorial inside the Work It Daily platform to the letter, it actually creates the resume design format that we teach you, which is crazy. It's almost identical.
Yes.
It's so cool, with the exception of a couple places. So, if you were ever on the fly and realized you suddenly needed a resume, if you've optimized your LinkedIn profile the way we've taught you, you're going to have a pretty darn good resume. Not exactly perfect, but pretty darn good through the Microsoft option there. And again, that's free to do on your LinkedIn profile. So,
Definitely.
But you can always load it. They just probably won't look at it. I tend to tell people you don't have to. If you really want to, you can, Lisa. But again, recruiters are just going to PDF using the Microsoft feature your resume anyway. So it's more important to have your LinkedIn profile optimized.
Definitely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. What else do we have here? Aaron. Hey, Aaron. Aaron says, should you apply to online jobs using a Word version of your resume or a PDF version?
Great question. So we typically recommend applying using a PDF because it freezes the formatting and everything. Because sometimes you'll open up a Word doc, and all the formatting is scrambled and everything is in the wrong place, and it makes a really bad impression. That said, if they specifically ask you to submit it in a Word doc or anything else, then you would want to do that. But our rule of thumb is do a PDF.
Yeah, most of the ATS these days will take PDF and prefer it. There's the old school ones, a couple of outdated ones that require Word, in which case you should. But they'll be very specific in the job posting. They'll say, please submit it as a Word doc. If they're not specific, PDF.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Let's see. When applying to a job online, I always use my WID resume format. However, sending a resume direct to the hiring manager or recruiter, should I make any changes? No. I don't think so. I definitely, if you're using our format, then you're using the best format out there. And I would say make sure you've got a disruptive cover letter going.
Yes,
though, right?
Definitely.
The disruptive cover letter is the secret sauce these days, folks. If you don't know what it is, we have a video on YouTube that kind of walks you through the disruptive cover letter. But it's probably one of my favorite aspects of our job as career coaches. Inside our platform, our members learn how to write disruptive cover letters. They write them, and then they send them to us for review. And disruptive cover letters tell stories. It's how you feel connected to the employer, how you identify as a member of their tribe. Because what you're trying to do in the cover letter is show them that you are part of their corporate culture. You get them. Not that you have the skills. That's what the resume is for. Save that for the resume. But how do you feel connected to them? And those stories are powerful. And I feel like every day I've got a member saying, I just got an interview at my dream job, and they said they couldn't get over how awesome the cover letter was, because they're telling that story, you know?
It allows them to stand out. And honestly, I love reading the cover letters in the platform, because you go from your generic to whom it may concern with the bullet points, just reiterating your resume. Yeah, that's not going to help you stand out, sorry. But if you tell a story that connects you with the organization, it shows them that this is more than a job to you or a paycheck. It's an opportunity to contribute to a place that really means something to you.
And I'll tell you, if you're not 100% fit for a job, that's even more reason to write a disruptive cover letter, because that story that you tell, that connection, again, goes back to that idea of screening you in instead of screening you out. If they've got something that, gosh, I really love the way they wrote this story in their cover letter, okay, they get to the resume, well, they don't have everything, but gosh, their personality seems really awesome. I think I want to talk to them anyways. That's what happens.
Yeah.
So that's why you want that document, but you've got to put effort in. And I think that's one of the reasons people aren't doing disruptive cover letters and why it's your competitive advantage. People are lazy. They're using outdated templates of cover letters from the internet that are stuffy and boring and self-important, and recruiters don't read them, and you just wasted your time. Whereas if you could spend a little bit more time writing from the heart about why you feel connected to that employer, I mean, you get back what you put in, right?
Right. And if you don't include a cover letter because you think that they're not actually reading them, well, they're not reading those old cover letters. Yes, because so it's worth taking the time. And honestly, if you really feel some kind of connection with this organization, if you would feel proud to work for this company, it should be relatively easy to write this.
Yeah.
Even if you're not a writer, you can articulate this, get it on paper, and then we can help you edit it.
I know. Everyone says that, I'm not a writer, and then they write these things, and you're like, really? Because this came out beautifully,
exactly.
You know? And we'll help you edit. All right, we've got time for one more question. It says, Cece says, I went to a job once a week for a month. They said to keep coming back. How long do you wait before you go back again if they've not called you for an interview yet? So, you know what, if you've been following up every week for a month, Cece, I would say put it on back burner for now. Give it a good 3 weeks before you follow up again, and then do it every 3 weeks after that until somebody flat out says, no, that you're not moving forward. Also, don't be afraid to say to them, should I assume that I'm not in the running at this point? When you frame it that way, should I assume that I'm not in the running at this point? That's going to force them to give you more of an honest answer. They might say, yes, it's true, or no, we really are just kind of taking our time with this. So it's okay to ask that at this point, but I would go on a 3 week cycle instead, just so you know.
You have to think about, again, recruiters are flooded with, applicants and candidates and interviews. And sometimes that process takes a little bit longer, but also it can be hard for them to keep up with the responses. So, just sit tight for a little bit.
And I'm going to take one more question from Maureen because it's a really good one. Maureen says, an agency asked for my resume in Word. They sent me the job description. The agency redid my resume and sent it to the company and said they wouldn't yet. I found out. What do you think about this? So essentially what happened is the staffing agency redid Maureen's resume and sent it to the client without her knowing. I'm sorry, that's bad agency practice. I was in the staffing industry for many years. They should have never done that without your consent. And the reason for that is you might have connections at that company and you might want to go through other channels. They're going to get a fee for placing you. And one of the things you always have to be careful about, folks, is that when you work with a staffing agency, the moment they submit you for a job at a company, they now essentially own your candidacy at that company. So any job that you'd qualify for, they would get a commission on. And so that could affect an employer's hiring decision. They might go with somebody who went through the normal channel where they don't have to pay the fee. So you always have to be careful. If you've got established relationships or you've ever applied someplace, you might want to say to the agency, look, I've got documentation. I've been at these places. You can't submit me there. You can only submit me at places that I haven't got any connections or I haven't established, application process with. And that way, if they go around you, you still would be able to say, look, you're not going to get the commission. But it is sort of the downside of using agencies, and they're just very competitive, and that's why they do that. But no, I would not say that it was good that they did that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, great question, though. Also,
yeah,
yes.
Definitely. All right, if you want to have your questions answered, I'm sorry, 30 minutes always goes so fast here, but here's the deal, folks. Every question you have, some of them might be really personal. You might not want to put them here on YouTube. Guess what? There's an app for that. It's called Work It Daily. And when you join us, and I know that Arielle's going to bring up the discounted rates again, when you join us, you're going to get access to your expert coaches. Ourselves and the team here want to help you, and you direct message us privately. You can ask us whatever questions that you have, but you're also going to be part of an incredible group of peers. The people that join Work It Daily's Career Growth Club, they're different. They want to up their game. They want to help one another. They want to network. They want to succeed. Being surrounded by teammates like that, that's what gets your career in gear. That's why it's where careers go to grow. That's why we say that, because the people that join are intentional. So if that sounds like you, I don't know what you're waiting for. You need to come join us.
Yes. And honestly, if you've ever had a hard time staying motivated in your job search or being accountable, you've got to get inside the platform, because they're all cheerleaders. Like, everybody's helping each other. And
it's amazing.
It's incredible. It's a great community.
It's the healthiest form of social networking out there. Like I said, LinkedIn is now a social marketplace. It's not a social network. We are a micro network that is truly connected and doing things. And this is good for you. Facebook, you can sit on there an hour plus a day, liking and looking, and end up feeling bad about yourself. I can tell you right now, you're going to come into Work It Daily, spend 10 to 15 minutes a day. You're going to feel great about yourself. This is healthy social networking. So I hope you come check it out. All right.
Great.
Thanks, everyone. We'll be back next week.
Awesome.
Yeah, we'll see you all next week. All right, questions, comments, feedback. You know what to do. We'll see you next week. Bye everyone.